Welcome to the Fast Leader Podcast, where we uncover the leadership life hacks that help you to experience breakout performance faster and rocket to success. And now, here's your host, customer and employee engagement expert, and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, Jim Rimbaugh.
Whether in the office or on the road, work with your community or coach to practice great behavior and produce great organizational results. Capture real-time behavior practice from competency-based development plans and invite feedback in an elegant and simple application. Take Top Performance Mobile by going to resultpal.com/fast and getting a $750 performance package for free. Okay, Fast Leader Legion, I am so excited to have the guest that I have on the show today because I've known him for a very long time. Even though we haven't necessarily been connected the whole time, he's somebody who is it provides an important connection to my past. He's a former high school colleague of mine. Trip Durham was introduced to this planet in the maternity ward of the now defunct Alamance County Hospital. Now, that's not why it's defunct, but he was actually birthed in sports administration by serving as the clubhouse manager for the Burlington Indians, the then rookie league team for the Cleveland Indians. Tripp has been a working full-time professional since January of 1991. He started as a teaching assistant for LD and BEH students. In June of that year, he was fired due to staff reductions. He spent that summer typing 162 letters to 162 minor league baseball franchises, hoping that his summer spent with the Burlington Indians and his degree in English would give him an edge. 100 flushed letters came back, complemented by 4 letters of interest. The Winston-Salem Spirits hired him in October of 1991, and he served faithfully for 3 seasons. Then he was fired due to a change in ownership. After stringing together some part-time work, he was hired by Elon, then college, in May of 1995 to start a marketing department as the school was moving from NCAA Division II to NCAA Division I. After 14 years of faithful service, he was fired due to change in leadership. In May of 2010, he was tired of being fired and opened up his own college athletics consulting agency. He hasn't been fired since. Tripp has rebounded, leveraging his resume and his experiences. Each time he was fired, someone gave him an opportunity. While everything happens for a reason, nothing happens without the help of another. Positive association is the motto by which Tripp lives, personally and professionally. He makes it through his days, his projects, his time collaborating with others by using humor, empathy, flexibility, and energy. His professional hobby is public address announcing, and he is currently in his 6th season as the announcer at Cameron Indoor Stadium, the home of the famous Duke University Blue Devils. He is married to the former Caroline Hearn of Winston-Salem. Trip Durham, are you ready to help us get over the hump?
Well, Jim, now that you've pointed out to the world that I've been fired 3 times, sure, why not? I'm laced up, I'm strapped in, let's go.
You're already thick-skinned, right? Okay, so I've given our listeners a little bit about you, but can you tell us what your current passion is so that we can get to know you even better?
The passion is the industry that I work in, which is sports administration, specifically college athletics, every day since the early part of my college career in the early or the late 1980s. I'd always wanted to work in college administration, and having done so at Elon for a good number of years, having worked in minor league baseball, I feel like that I'm in the right spot. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I get to be a part of an academic year between August and May that is full of all kinds of stories, all kinds of great people, great settings in this planet. So for me to be able to wake up and get to go do it, I think that's passion with a capital P and probably a capital SS in the middle as well.
No, I tell you thanks for sharing that. Just listening to you and just knowing, even when we were young kids, your devotion and commitment to sports and, how it was really a serving component that for me kind of stands out now that I reflect on that is, you were one of those kids, didn't necessarily need to have the spotlight, on you. You were really focused in on helping others receive the spotlight. And I really admire that in you. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show.
That's, Jim, I don't know that I ever would have framed it that way, but now that you say it out loud, I've actually got sort of a bit of a cold chill running through me. You're probably right. I know that I've always wanted to be one of the smallest guys in the room, although what I do as my professional hobby with public address makes me one of the loudest guys in the room. But I've always wanted to be behind the scenes, propping up others. Not that I've got that type of humanitarian fiber in me, but I guess it's just what I do naturally. And when you think about what I do professionally, it all does sort of marry up really well. So in the first 5 or 6 minutes, you've actually highlighted something for me that I hadn't even thought about.
Well, I mean, I just, I wanted to share that with you because I think one of the reasons that the Fast Leader Show has been created and has the guests on that it has on is to really highlight the fact that in order for us to move onward and upward faster within our personal and professional lives, it's to be able to make these connections with others so that, collectively, synergistically, we can all, kind of raise all ships and we can all move onward and upward faster.
Well, and
And
that's fair too. And I'm not going to start playing myself up here, but to your point about lifting other people up, probably the best way that you can create that synergy is to know that you're going at it with the idea that you're actually going to help someone along as opposed to bring your own ego into it and try to stifle the entire process. So I think not only is Fast Leader on a great track for highlighting all that stuff, I think this conversation alone in the first couple of minutes is tracking the right way.
thank you for being part of the Legion now, and hopefully going forward. Now, you're one of those folks that also I know can just rattle off, of course, statistics from athletics, but you can also rattle off all kinds of different, snippets, pieces of information, and quotes, which is something that's important to us on the Fast Leader Show. And they're ones that make us start into deep thought and, of course, make us laugh. But is there a quote or two that kind of stands out for you that gives you some energy?
That's a pretty good on the spot question. I don't know that there's one that comes to mind. I used to use it was a standard, and don't tell anybody that I'm telling you this. When it was my time to give a toast at a wedding reception, I would always use the closing lines from Robert Frost and The Road Less Traveled. The idea that two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. I used to frame that with the people that I was toasting, going, "Hey, me meeting you, that made all the difference." But I guess in my journey, being able to look at the opportunities that are a bit different than the standard opportunity or the one that everybody says that, well, you have to follow this. The one that is less trodden sometime is obviously the more adventurous one. It can be the most scary. And as I think back of all my days professionally and maybe even personally, I'm probably that guy that has walked a bit of a different path. And to quote Frost, that has made all the difference for me. And I don't know if other people look at paths the same way, but in my world, that's the way it's gone.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to stay as connected with you over the years as I have, and hopefully that'll change with the show and going forward, because I definitely look forward to that and learning more about those times where you've taken that unique path. Because you're right, yeah, I mean those are the things that really cause us the differentiation in life. So, and with that too, we also find humps because that path and going down that path it's not smooth. It's can be quite rickety and rigid and painful and something that we have to hack through. Can you think of a time where you've had to get over a hump because of maybe taking a unique path and maybe it set you in a better direction or cleared the way? Can you share it with us?
It's a different way to spin your question. In the late summer of 1991, I was waking up one morning knowing that I had two successful interviews behind me, one in sports administration with the aforementioned Winston-Salem Baseball Club, and then also with the school system down in the eastern part of North Carolina. I was a English major in college, so I thought that I just needed to run that all the way out and just be a teacher full time. So I woke up one morning knowing that both of them were going to call that day. It was just a feeling in my gut that both were going to call. I thought that both were going to offer me the job. And I resigned myself that morning to whoever calls first, I'm going to take that job. And so sure enough, about 10:30, quarter of 11 that morning, the Winston-Salem Ball Club called, offered me the job, and I said, I will take it. I had said, you're not going to have two birds in a bush and try to think that there's something better out there. Take what's given to you. Well, about 45 minutes to an hour later, the school system called, and they offered me the job. And I had to say, look, I've already taken the other position. And I don't know that it's a hump, but I knew that there was going to be some type of hill that I had to climb that day. And it was sticking to my guns and saying that this is the job I'm going to take, whoever calls first. And I wonder, Jim, if you and I are even having this conversation today, if the school system had called first. What type of path would I be on? Not trying to beat up the whole path analogy, but where would I be right now? I certainly wouldn't have the opportunity that I've had with public address, with working with various campuses over the years, the travel that I've had. School teachers don't travel a whole lot. So the lifestyle that I have is partly due not only because they called first, that I told myself, I'm going to take the job of whoever calls first. So I guess I'm a little prideful that I stuck to it, being that young back then. And maybe there's a lesson in there that if you're resolved to do something, and if to a point you need to resign yourself to do it, well, then grab it with gusto and go do it.
Wow. And I don't know if I could have done that. And I hear, of course, talking to so many people around the whole, regret component, especially when you start referring to the fact that you're not still with this, Winston-Salem Ball Club.
Because they fired me. I think you mentioned that in the intro, didn't you?
I think once or twice, right?
Once or twice.
And also, look, there's, I don't know if there's a really soft way of saying this, but we know that there's not a whole lot of, high income in minor league baseball or in, teaching. So, I don't know if it was a situation of looking at prosperity from an income perspective, is really the decision. But when you start talking about, actually making that decision and sticking to it, what would you say was the most difficult hump to get over to show up at the Winston-Salem Ball Club?
The idea that at the time you could really count on the North Carolina state system to take care of their teachers in retirement, full benefits, knowing that you're vested to the hilt. My mother is a retired English teacher, so I'm not saying that she was in my head saying that you need to look at the financial aspect of 30 years down the road. But in 91, I was 25 or so, 24. To know that in 30 years, I could be vested and have full retirement, that was big. Or I could go to the Winston-Salem Minor League Club and make $18,000 a year and figure out who I'm going to live with or how I'm going to make ends meet. But again, I guess that goes back to passion too, Jim, is that I've known sports for a really long time. You were a first baseman in high school. I remember washing all of your uniforms. And obviously there's something about the process of being involved that made me want to stay involved. So $18,000 be damned, or state pension be damned. I'm going to go into sports. So I guess the challenge of the financial was it, but the passion of what I liked in sports probably overrode it.
That's funny that you say that. And thanks for sharing that, because I was just having this conversation the other day where somebody was in a startup company, and they were talking about not being able to get attention of others and use it as a means by which, they can grow their business, and like, advisory type, volunteer type, and, even offering, some commitment in regards to ownership of company through their time. But the whole complaint was, we're not making any money, therefore nobody has an interest.
Right.
And I said,
right.
Wait a minute right there. And I think you just gave an example of, it isn't the money. The passion's going to override. So how can you create the passion, right?
Totally. But you've also got to be able to have a bit of a portfolio of either experience or people that you know. Again, it goes back to, yes, you've got all the skill sets in the world, but you really don't get anywhere unless somebody else helps you to get there. So, yes, there may be startups that say, well, nobody's interested. Well, maybe they're not interested because going into it, you didn't either have the network or the experience behind you to go farm and cultivate on where interest could be. There are people at 30 and 34 years old that I talk to that say, yeah, I think I want to be a consultant. I don't think you're old enough to be a consultant. You're not well worn enough. You don't have enough notches in your belt to say that you've got the expertise to be able to go tell or show somebody else how to do it. So again, portfolio, the network and the experiences, you got to have it.
That's a really good point. And, at 25,
no way.
Yeah, we don't have that. Nor the wisdom, and that's, again, one of the things that we hope to bring out in the Fast Leader Show is that people can experience other people's stories, and hopefully wisdom will come to them faster. because it's not just it's all information is when it comes down to it, but it's the wisdom piece that really makes the difference. And so I know that, we had talked briefly about some of the things that you're working on, the different areas that you're taking your business. I think you're doing some, launches of services and solutions. I mean, you talked about traveling with your wife, and yes, she is still married to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, you, me, and about half the society were all just as surprised.
But if you started thinking about goals, right? I mean, what is one of those goals that's just really giving you a whole lot of drive and excitement?
I really like to be able to work with an athletic director, a conference commissioner, or even in the for-profit sector, a CEO or a CMO. I really like the collaboration in being able to hear their pain points, to understand the challenges and where they want to be with their goals, and then assessing for them where I think they are and really working with them on a daily basis to say, this is where I think you can go. I don't know that I am as much goal driven at times as the people I work for are goal driven. So if I can be an extension of their hopes to be able to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish, well, then maybe at the end of the day, those are my goals. When we were in high school, I never had the inkling. I don't know that I had the guidance from parents or grandparents to say you need to set a flag in the ground and you need to run towards it. I just sort of take the environment as it comes. I'm able to forecast a little bit. I'm able to predict certain scenarios. And then again, based on portfolio of experience and network, I sort of find the opportunities. I'm hoping that 5.5 years into my business, I'm to a point to where the phone is ringing in a little bit, and it is. I still got to go out and find it, but I don't know that I wake up every morning going, today I got to call 15 people, and I got to make sure that I got this amount of business secured by the end of the month. It's just not how I'm wired. But if I can help you reach your goals, then maybe, again, de facto, that's the way I reach my goals.
And the Fast Leader Legion wishes you the very best. Now, before we move on, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. Developing your company's talent and leadership pipeline can be an overwhelming task, but your burden is over. With ResultPal, you can use the power of practice to develop more leaders faster. Move onward and upward by going to resultpal.com/fast and getting a $750 performance package for free. All right, here we go, Fast Leader Legion. It's time for the Hump Day Hoedown. Okay, Trip, the Hump Day Hoedown is the part of our show where you give us good insights fast. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and your job is to give us robust yet rapid responses that are going to help us move onward and upward faster. Trip Durham, are you ready to hoe down?
I am, and it's going to be speed reading 101, buddy.
So what do you think is holding you back from being an even better leader today?
Capacity. There is only one of me. I don't have the ability within the 24 hours of the day to either do the things I want to do or think the things I want to think. So capacity is holding me back.
What is the best leadership advice you have ever received?
I was standing face to face with an individual years ago. We were talking. I had no idea who he was. In context clues, I was trying to figure out who he was. And then when he walked away, he walked right back to me and he goes, "You have no idea who I am, do you?" I said, "No, sir, not at all." And he looked at me right dead in the eye and said, "You may not know who I am, but people know who you are." So the lesson was you need to pay attention and value every handshake.
What is one of your secrets that you believe contributes to your success?
Being calm and being considerate, all under fire. No pressure, just breathe and think it through.
What do you feel is one of your best tools that helps you lead in business or life?
I think being able to give people the opportunity to share their voice, to share their ideas, and to be present in a meeting or in a group setting to make sure that they know that they bring value to the table.
What would be one book that you'd recommend to our listeners? And it could be from any genre.
The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I tell you that because that is the lighter side of life. The way that A.A. Milne wrote, it allows you in your toughest of moments to be able to pick up something light and be reminded that, you know what, it's pretty easy. It's all on how you approach it.
Fast Leader listeners, you can find links to that and other bonus information from today's show by going to fastleader.net/Trip Durham. Okay, Trip, This is my last Hump Day Hoedown question. Imagine you were given the opportunity to go back to the age of 25, and you've been given the opportunity to take the knowledge and skills that you have now back with you, but you can't take everything. You can only choose one. So what skill or piece of knowledge would you take back with you, and why?
You and I go way back, so you are not going to be offended, I hope, when I tell you this. I wouldn't take anything back. To me, your question is one of regret, that I wish I'd had it. Gosh, I regret that I didn't have it. Everything that happened 25 years ago has put me in this position today, whether it's financial, whether it's personality, whether it's my mindset, how I approach any particular facet of my day. It's all because of what happened 25 years ago. So to say that I was going to go back and change it, no, that's sort of like Quantum Leap, in which Sam went all the way back and he had to not mess with the one thing and forget it. It's not what I want to do.
Trip, it was an honor to spend time with you today. Can you please share with the Fast Leader Legion how they can connect with you?
Website is 2D, that's D as in dog, consulting, LLC.com. They can also give me a phone call at 336-229-6699. Smoke signals are good. Courier pigeons are even better. Turtles are way too slow, so no notes on the top of their backs, okay?
Trip Durham, thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. The Fast Leader Legion honors you and thanks you for helping us get over the hump. Thank you for joining me on the Fast Leader Show today. For recaps, links from every show, special offers, and access to download and subscribe, if you haven't already, head on over to fastleader.net so we can help you move onward and upward faster.